You're listening to Simple Roots Radio, episode 67, and do I have a surprise inside?
Welcome to Simple Roots Radio with Alexa Shern. Alexa believes that simplicity in life is the key to achieving true and lasting health. And now your host, Alexa Shern.
Welcome back to Simple Roots Radio. I'm so excited to have you on. I thought I would change up the intro a little bit just to keep you on your toes. And also because this is a new year with new goals, new ideas, and new excitement that's about to hit you today. But before we get there, I have a little quick fact of the day. Did you know that 58% of the population makes resolutions? Okay, that might not be a surprise, but outside of that 58%, they think a good majority more make a goal or a word. They just don't call it a resolution. However, Forbes reports that it is estimated 80% of resolutions have failed by February 1st, with only 8% of people actually achieving what they set out to do. Okay, you might not be surprised by that as well, because let's be honest, we might be a part of that statistic. I know I have been a time or two. Anyways, the top 5 resolutions set are 1, to stay fit and healthy, 2, to lose weight, 3, to enjoy life to the fullest, 3 is to spend less, save more, and number 5 is to spend more time doing the things you love. Again, all of this is probably not news to anyone, but the general consensus reported for the last 20 plus years is that people are looking for the same thing year in and year out. Maybe even more in a simple way now than ever before. And that is health and happiness, right? We all want it, which happens to be the very topic of today and what we're diving headfirst into, and I'm so excited. And I'm not going to leave you hanging any longer. I'm just going to come out with it and tell you what my big surprise is for 2018. It's simply my mission for 2018. And if you're following along, then you're going to be a part of it. It's called Living a Well-Nourished Year. 365 days to get healthy, live happy, and find joy. Ultimately, what everyone is seeking in their resolutions in some way or another, maybe even if you're not setting resolutions, something you're still looking for, we are going to do that this year right here on Simple Roots Radio and at Simple Roots Wellness, and it's going to be so much fun. I'm going to be sharing more later in the episode, but for now, let's get started and just break down what that means and what it looks like to live a well-nourished life. I think it's fair to say that we all come to the new year and we have hopeful expectations, right? Like we have all these ideas and thoughts and dreams and wishes laid out, which is so fantastic. But we have to pull ourselves out of the 92% statistic that will never achieve that and into a life of achieving what we set out to do. And I think that there's a huge hurdle that we're missing when it breaks down goals and resolutions and all these ideas and why it's so easy to jump on the latest fad. Just to give you a little backstory, at the end of 2017, I was really struggling. In fact, I took some time off. I was a little bit more silent than normal, and I was asking nearly every guest that came on my show, what is it in 2018 that's going to change? Because I don't know if you're like me, but you can kind of get into this rhythm of living the same life over and over. It's like living the movie Groundhog Day. It just year in and year out, nothing really seems to change. The external appearance is the same. And I lived here wondering how, why can I keep going on? Like, what is it before something major needs to change, right? Before I just switch gears altogether or you just simply give up, right? Like all of those things come when this big rush of anxiety comes in and you look back and you think the external circumstance hasn't changed. But yet, as I kept digging and kept wondering, why should I keep going? What is there? What does 2018 have that's so much better than 2017 or so much better than the past? And I think this is what we've missed, or this is at least what I've missed. And I've missed that the internal perspective has changed drastically. And I haven't given it enough credit for how I've changed internally and how eventually in time that will change the external circumstance. For now, right? It's a process, right? So 2017, I say, was my year of changing my internal perspective, which in time will change the external circumstance if I continue to grow internally. And that is what I hope for you, not just for 2018, but for the rest of our life, that we take a more internal approach to health, to happiness, to life, to relationships, to everything, that we fix internally And naturally, that will show externally. I know it's so hard to see that, especially when we live in the world of now and instant gratification. And there's magazines blasting the grocery store aisles telling you how quickly you can lose weight. But really, whenever we jump on a diet, right? Whenever we jump on a fad, I know I'm in the nutrition world, right? Like I'm right there creating these diet programs. But whenever we jump on that, just for external appearance to change or external circumstance to change, aren't we missing what's going to keep this lasting? Where that lifelong approach is coming from, because that can only come from within. So I hope I'm making sense when I say all of this, but really my ultimate goal is for you to stop right now and think back on 2017. If you created goals, resolutions, or had a word of the year, like how did it go? Were you able to keep those things? And if not, why? Like think about it. Go to the hard places. I know it's not easy to want to hit the rut, right? Because that's painful in some ways, but really that's where the foundational change is going to come from. So we have to go there. I know I had to go there in order to get over my anxiety. So even though it might have stirred up a little more anxiety, okay, a lot more anxiety, initially when I was trying to go into those deep places of what happened in 2017, like what really happened in 2017, because I don't know if you've been following along on my own health journey, but I went through a huge health hurdle 2 years ago and I gained nearly 20 pounds. And this year in 2017 was going to be the year that I lost some of that in a healthy way. That was my mentality. But at the end of the day, I didn't. And I was really frustrated by the fact that I didn't do that. And now I'm looking, why didn't I do that? And I think it was because I wasn't nourishing my life and my body in the way that it needed to. I thought I was trying, or I was kind of getting there, but still my mindset was not a nourishing mindset. It wasn't one of self-love. And I still struggled with that. I wasn't putting all of the pieces, which we're going to dive into. I think there's 5 major components of living a nourished life that I have to bring together, that we have to bring together to make this lifelong. So stop and recognize, what is it in 2017? Did it go well or did it not? And what are your dreams and your hopes and your wishes for 2018? And how can we make those a reality? But I want you to look with eyes from the internal perspective, looking now, not looking externally, not looking at what's coming back from you in the mirror. It's what is happening internally that's going to make the change. So step 1 is to, again, look at the past, think about what happened, what went well, what worked well, what didn't. Use that to learn ahead. And the step 2 is to stop looking at the mirror image of yourself and start looking at yourself from the inside out, because the inside is what creates change. Even in health, right? We get so focused on numbers and weight loss and the scale and chain sizes. But the reality is that you can lose a lot of weight without fixing your internal functioning, right? Your hormonal functioning, your organ functioning, all of this stuff that's happening inside. You can lose weight the wrong way, but it never lasts, because health starts from the inside. Weight loss can come either way, but the only way that it's going to be lasting weight loss is if health begins by changing your internal functioning and externally letting things happen naturally. So step 2, outside of looking at the past to the present, or what worked well and what didn't, is to change your focus from an external perspective to an internal perspective. And step 3 is my big goal and my big idea, and that's to live nourished in 2018, to make the leap of self-love and self-respect. And I know that sounds so selfish and so hard, and yet we think that we're doing this maybe when we lose weight. A lot of times we have good intentions without the right values. And so we jump on board of these things, wishing to do all of this stuff, hoping to do all of this stuff, hoping to externally appear different, but we're not really willing to work on the root or the foundational issue that's going to allow this to change for life. Because we don't think dieting is easy, and exercising isn't easy, but it's probably easier than unleashing some of the emotions that caused us to get to this point in time, right? That caused us to maybe crash and burn, or to gain weight, or, to look into the root of our emotional eating, or binging, or our suppressing of emotions, or living in abuse, or whatever that is, or being abusive to ourselves, right? Self-love is not as easy as it seems. And we like to put this facade on that self-love is just selfish. But they're not. It's not. It's two totally different things. Self-love is anything but selfish because at the end of the day, the only way that we can serve and to give and to love others, to be our best self, is if we foster ourselves, if we build up ourselves. We cannot serve out of an empty vessel. It can't happen. So we are actually being more selfish by not practicing self-love because at that point, we're trying to do everything and be everything for everyone, and yet we're doing nothing well. And if that sounds like you, that has totally been me in so many points in my life, and it's something I still struggle with. I like to mask my emotions with busyness. I like to mask when things aren't going well with busyness. I'll just do something else, or I'll clean my house if my kids are getting under my skin. Rather than approaching the situation, I run away from it. I create busyness, or I suppress those things and bury those things. All of that is an excuse because it's hard sometimes to admit that self-love is actually one of the most selfless things you can do. But that's my goal for 2018 is to learn how to live a nourished life, our nourished life, a unique life that fits you. Because outside of all the fads and all the counting calories, right, which if it worked, we'd be a healthy nation. We wouldn't be here. If it were as easy as counting calories, we would all be thin, fit human beings, right? Because there's 1,001 apps that can do that for you. That is easy. But what's not easy is recognizing that it's a multi-layer, multi-functioning approach to health. It's not just one thing. It's not just calories, or it's not just how much you work out, or eat less, burn more to lose weight. Like that, it doesn't work that way. It's an entire lifestyle approach because at the root of it, your emotions, your stress level, your faith, your hope, your beliefs, your relationships, all of that is playing an impact. And we're going to dive more into this in the emotional component to health because I think it gets overlooked and why diet and exercise alone won't work if we have the wrong mindset. And it's simply this, like to break it down really quickly, is every cell in our body has an emotional response. In fact, our emotions act like physical pain in our body. And we know that if we got sucker punch in the gut, right, you would feel that. There would be a cascade of inflammation and other things coming in to fix whatever physical trauma has happened on the body. There's a full body phenomenon happening when we have physical pain. Like if we cut ourselves or we sprain our ankle and there's instant swelling, right? Things are happening inside our body to fix that. What they're finding is the emotional response to things has the same physical response as physical trauma. I know, it's crazy. But every cell in our body is responding to emotional trauma and stress and negative relationships and negative thoughts about ourselves and negative thoughts about food. Our body is responding in a way to protect itself. And generally, survival of the fittest, I mean, to say this lightly, the fattest live the longest, right? So in most cases, it means building a little extra body fat or preserving that, preventing our body from breaking it down. So we have to know that emotions have a huge response in the body. In fact, that stress level is a huge component, if not half of the equation of health. It's not just about diet and exercise, which we're going to dive so much into that. But we have to know it's a full picture. It's a full approach. And that's what I'm so excited about, is not to just throw another program at you or another idea, but to take 2018 and to break it down day by day, week by week, month by month, and really learn about ourselves. Learn what it looks like to practice self-love, to have self-respect, and how in that we can give more, that we can serve more, that we can be a full vessel, because that's really what we're called to be. So the best thing, again, we have to get to this belief that the best thing that we can do in 2018 for our health is to love and respect ourselves. So again, obviously the harder thing is how. How can we start doing this? And again, it's a process of learning about your body, about your needs and your values, because that's what we're after, is we're after lasting change. And if you're after the quick fix, this is totally not for you. And I understand if you're not ready to go on this process. Not everyone is. But if you want that weight loss to stick around, if you want happiness, if you want joy, if you want to feel energized, this is the process for you, and it's going to be a year-long approach. Obviously not the quick fix, But I believe it's a snowball effect, right? Once it starts to take off, it gets easier and easier and easier and easier. And that's what we're after, to live a deep down, nourished life that you desire and a life that you stop fighting your body. You stop fighting your emotions. You stop fighting in your relationships and you really start to develop this life full of happiness and full of joy. Of course, there's always going to be hard things, right? That we sign up for that. That is life. Hard things are going to happen. We're not going to escape those. But again, I hope that in those hard things, in the struggles of 2018, they don't come from a place of overwhelm that's about ready to roll you over and trample you down. I've been there and it is not fun to hit rock bottom, but you come to a place where you can fight those things, where you can stand in those things because your internal perspective has changed. You're not just looking from the outside in, but you're looking from the inside out. And in that, I think a lot of things change. So I have 5 things that we're going to focus on this year, 5 things that I challenge you to focus on, whether you're going to do this in our community through the Well-Nourished Year or whether you're going to do this on your own. I have 5 things that I really want you to write down and then write down 2 or 3 ways in which you're going to focus on those things or 2 or 3 ways in which those things matter to you. And I'm going to have a handout in the show notes that's going to help you do this. Okay, so here's one. Faith and spirituality. I know a lot of people think that I'm crazy for adding faith and spirituality into a nutrition and health podcast. But here's my reasoning. I believe that faith and spirituality is the means of hope, right? And without hope, it's hard to see beyond our external circumstance sometimes, right? Faith and spirituality give us a hope in something greater, hope in something better, eternal life, all that stuff, right? But still, at the end of the day, we were created perfect in love, for love. And without this, we don't really have a solid foundation to build our health off of. It becomes wavering, right? We question it, and it's easy to jump from thing to thing, and we don't have a lot of purpose and perspective, and it just becomes hard. And so for me, and what I've found is that without faith and spirituality, I really lack a lot of joy because life is really hard. And my faith is what gets me through the hard things and helps me have joy in the midst. I'm still learning this, don't get me wrong. But I want to go on this journey with you that faith and spirituality is really the foundational component to health. And without it, we have nothing solid to stand on to make this last for life. Number 2 is, of course, self-love, which maybe I just wrap that all in together, but really to practice self-love to help us get rid of those negative thoughts, negative emotions, negative comments that you tell yourself. Okay, I get called out on this all the time. Something that I really need to work on is saying positive things rather than negative things, focusing on the positive rather than a negative. There's a lot of ways to practice self-love, which again, I want you to write out some things that you want to focus on this year in each of these categories. So self-love is number 2. Number 3 is nutrition. Of course, having a healthy life is always going to relate to how well you eat at some level. And there is a component to that in the Well-Nourished Year and just living a healthy life in general. So nutrition, but doing it in the right way, again, with the right mindset. Number 4 is movement. I'm sorry to break it to you. My sister has literally been asking me for months, does exercise really matter? Like, if I focus on something else, is it okay if I skip exercise? The reality is that I know it can be overwhelming to do too many things at once, but I want to get to a place where you find some way to move your body that you enjoy, and actually movement and exercise becomes a critical part of self-love that you desire it. Not abuse it, but desire it. And so we're going to get there. If you don't like exercise, if you don't like movement, don't let it overwhelm you. In time, it will happen, I promise you. But movement is a critical part of your health. And number 5 is relationships. Again, kind of a newer topic in the whole health sphere, but really one that I think is going to become one of the top talked about topics in health alone is the relational component to our health. I once heard, and I think I've mentioned this on Simple Roots Radio before, but a counselor or a psychiatrist on another podcast, and he was talking about relationships, and he really believes, and he quoted, "Your health is only as healthy as your healthiest relationship." And I was stunned by that, but so true, right? Our health is only as healthy as our healthiest relationships. And so if we have a lot of poor relationships, or we don't really have any relationships, it's really hard to have self-love and to have a healthy relationships with ourselves and just to live a healthy life. I'm going to get some experts on to talk more deeply about this, but also why I want to create a community here on Simple Roots Radio and Simple Roots Wellness is because I want this to be a place where if you have no other healthy relationships, this becomes one that fosters that health and that self-love and that faith that helps you grow and spurs you on to move forward. Not another abusing place, not another place to make you think that you have to be a certain size or to weigh yourself and to make you feel ashamed, but really that place to come in to get encouraged and to get motivated to move forward. And also to tell all your hard things and things you need help with, because we're here for that too. But those are the 5 things: faith and spirituality, self-love, nutrition, movement, and relationships, which again, basically encompass the nourished life. So if you have this big circle that's called the nourished life, inside of it would be those 5 things, maybe some more. And like I said, there's a lot of different categories that could fall in those components. But at the end of the day, this is life, and life is a matter of what we put in. So I don't know about you, but I am so pumped for what's ahead, for what's coming back, and helping you to build a firm foundation to move forward in health. Like I said, I want to call it simple, but really anytime you go to the root, to the foundation and build it back up, it takes some work. It's not always going to be easy, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a perfect fit for you. And that's what we need to remember. Remember, the external circumstance is not nearly as important as the internal perspective. And this is what we must not forget. So maybe we should even say that this is the beginning of the edited version of your life, the limited edition. And what I mean by that is this year might involve some pruning, cutting out, shaving, dicing, carving, whatever that looks like, to really take you to the core, to help you get rid of the surface level stuff that you're maybe using to bury what's really inside, and to let you step out in a simplistic, healthy version of yourself. And that is my hope. And that is my goal. That is my dream for the nourished year. And I hope you join me on this journey. Of course, this isn't just a health journey, but a journey of faith, of knowing whose you are and whom you are. So again, whether you join me in this journey or not, I want you to take that downloadable guide that I have given you in the show notes at simplerootswellness.com/067 and print it off and write in some focus points that you're going to do and a specific action step for each. Then just start breaking them down week by week. I know it's going to take time, and this is a journey, not a quick fix. Sure, you can do other diet and nutrition programs along the way. In fact, a part of the Well Nourished year, we're going to be walking through my own cleanse, the simple cleanse that I created a few years ago, as well as the hormonal reset numerous times this year. But I'm going to help you do it in the right way, in the right format, and in the right mindset. Yes, there is the right time to actually cleanse your body. A lot of people think it's January 1st. Any time of the year is a great time to cleanse. There are better times though, when your body is actually able to cleanse more fully. Think about spring cleaning and fall, like the fall clean out. Those are actually great times when your body, the transitional seasons are great times to do that. So we're going to be working on our mindset and on our relationships first. And then as the year progresses, we're going to get more involved with the nutrition and exercise component as it goes. But like I said, diet and exercise are always going to be a critical component of this matter. So before I go, I want to break down what the Well Nourished year looks like and hopefully encourage you to join in. First, no, it is completely free. That's right. It is completely free to join us on the Well Nourished year, because ultimately it's not just another program, but it's a way of you learning about yourself and creating a health profile that fits you. So through the Well Nourished year, you're going to get weekly emails, Facebook live videos, weekly devotions, and podcasts to match. So basically all of this, even if you don't sign up here on the podcast, we're going to be going through it. All of my downloads are going to follow in this Well Nourished year, where we're going to together kind of create our own version of ourselves, the limited edition health profile of who you are. So all you need is a binder, because a binder and a pen and time to make sure you continue to listen to Simple Roots Radio and check back on the blog to get all the downloadable guides, and make sure you're signed up for the email list, because I'll be sending out more information in those as well. And so that binder is going to be that place for you to keep adding to all those printables that we're doing to keep track of your journey as we go. You can also use the Nourished Planner, which I would also recommend that if you want to invest a little bit in this journey, you grab the Nourished Planner, because that Nourished Planner is really going to, again, help us break down life to help you get out and live your best life. So grab the Nourished Planner. That can be at nourishedplanner.com. You can also find it in the show notes, and I'm going to give you a special discount to get it to join you on this journey. So head on over there. And if you want to join me in those nutrition programs, there is a small fee for those. But again, because I'm so excited for this year, and if you're going to join me and living your nourished year, you can get a huge discount on all of my courses, which will be going through sporadically throughout the year. If you've already purchased them, great. I'll send you any updates to those courses for free. But you can find all of those again at simplerootswellness.com/067 in the show notes, or simplerootswellness.com/well-nourished-year to get a huge discount, basically all of my courses for the price of one to use throughout the year. But that's a limited time. That's like a flash sale. So you got to get those quick before they're gone. Again, the Well-Nourished Year is going to be huge. It's 365 days to getting healthy, living happy, and finding joy. I hope you'll join me. Again, you can find all the information in the show notes or at simplerootswellness.com/well-nourished-year. And remember, this is more than a diet plan. This is a lifestyle fix, and one that will forever change who you are. So make sure you head to the show notes to get started. And whether or not you join me in the Well-Nourished Year, I hope you stay tuned right here to Simple Roots Radio, because we have so many good shows coming up. Next week, we're talking all about fear and how to practically overcome fear. And I'm going to be giving you a handout to one of my favorite exercises that was far more helpful than any vision board or any other plan that I've ever created going forward into a new year. So you're going to want to stay tuned to grab that download with one of my favorite guests, someone who's become very close to me. She's actually a previous guest on the show, Ellie Worthington, and I'm going to tell you why she matters so much in my life in that show. So again, make sure you head to the show notes, grab all the information from today's show, helping you get started on living your best year yet. Grab your Nourished Planner and those courses if you need to. If nothing else, grab that binder. Stay tuned, because we have a great year ahead. I'm so excited to get you started. And as always, if you wouldn't mind taking a few minutes to rate and review the show, literally, it means the world to me. It helps make the show go round. Every single rating and review I read personally and take that information and help me shape the show. Not only that, but it helps other people who wouldn't otherwise find Simple Roots Radio, and it makes it visible and findable easily for them. It takes no more than 2 minutes, I promise. You only have to do it once. Just head over to simplerootswellness.com/review and leave your rating and review. Again, I appreciate all the honest feedback. It means the world to me, and it helps make the show go round. So I thank you so much for tuning in to another year of Simple Roots Radio. This year, I hope, is the best yet. Stay tuned. So many great experts and solo shows coming your way. Oh, and a few secret bonus episodes that I forgot to tell you about. They're coming up. But in the meantime, I'll see you soon.